do whatever you need to do, scratch, claw, fight, whatever you need to do to be in school every day.
This is a journey.
Let me take you on a journey.
There will still be the journey.
The journey.
New sheriff in town, and his name is
The journey.
Journey.
This thing is bigger than Nino Brown. This is
The journey.
The journey.
What is it that moved you?
The journey. The journey. The journey. The journey.
Welcome back to another episode of The Journey. I'm your host, Larry Robinson, and today we have a Memphis icon that I know you're going to love. But before we get to him, let's go with our quote. The quote comes from the great actor Denzel Washington, and it goes a little something like this. You never know how or when you'll have an impact, or how important your example can be to someone else. What is that saying to you? Man, you got to walk, and when you walking, make sure you do things right. It goes back to character, and character being, what you do as when no one's watching. So listen, this brother today is Brother Andre Dean, out of Vegas or Nashville, however you want to put it. But listen, he's been in Memphis so long. He's a proud member of the great fraternity Kappa Alpha Psi and great family man. 3 kids, great wife, the whole 9. But he's also an entrepreneur. So without further ado, we're going to get to Brother Andre Dean. What's up, my brother?
Good. What's going on, Larry?
You got it. You got it, man. So tell me about Nashville, man. Tell me about the household that you grew up in.
Well, Nashville is a interesting town because most people look at Nashville and see this big city now. The demographics predominantly white, but as I was growing up, I didn't know the demographics of Nashville. I grew up in public housing.
Okay.
But I did know that in public housing in Nashville, there were black people and there were white people.
Oh.
So poverty didn't have a color in Nashville when I grew up.
Okay.
But
tell me about the household. Who was in the house with
it
you?
was 6 of us.
6?
I am a twin. I have a twin sister.
Okay.
We're the youngest of the 6.
Maternal,
it's
fraternal twins.
Yeah, it's only when it's a boy and a girl, it can't be.
Okay, all right.
but
Well,
one.
educate, obviously.
Can't be identical. We're only fraternal twins.
Okay.
But we were the youngest. We were the babies of the bunch. And but in the household, my mom, dad was never there, so my mom raised us. And then I like to think I had 2 moms because my oldest sister was the other mother.
Okay.
She's 10 years older than I am, so I can say that every bump, ding, scratch, she was the one there because my mom was always working.
Oh, wow. Who outside your mom or your parents had the biggest impact on you?
Oh, wow. I play sports.
Okay.
My coaches and some of my teachers.
Okay. Give me somebody now. Give me somebody that you gonna shout out.
Oh, well, shoot. The list is long. I started playing football and I wrestled. I played basketball.
You wrestled?
Yes. Yeah, a lot of people don't know that. That's where the grit comes from.
Okay, that's where the grit comes from. Okay.
I wrestled from 8th grade on through high school.
How'd you get into wrestling?
It's a funny story. I got cut from the basketball team. And I said I wasn't going home.
Okay.
So I went straight over to the wrestling room and said, hey, I'm here. I'm not going home.
Okay.
Because I had been playing football, typically go from football to basketball.
Right.
And we had my junior high school, the head coach football was the head coach for basketball.
Okay.
And he said, if you miss the scrimmage, you're not going to make the team. Well, I had to leave and go to a funeral out of state. And I came back Monday with no surprises, cut.
Right.
And so I went straight over to Coach Clardy's
All right.
wrestling room. And the rest is history. And I'm glad I did that.
Really? Why?
Wrestling, I can say honestly that wrestling, if anybody understands and knows the sport of wrestling, one, it's an individual sport. It's just you. Now, you're part of a team, but it's you against somebody else.
Right.
But the other thing is there's a discipline about making weight,
Right.
but then also the mental discipline about being able to understand and know who your opponent is, what their strengths and weaknesses are immediately.
Okay.
Because you have to assess that like right either before a match, during a match. You're gonna know if this person is like crazy strong,
okay,
or if they're talented and they smart, just as smart as you. So it's wrestling. A big piece of it is a counter,
right,
as opposed to just the offense.
Okay, we're gonna get back. We're gonna get back to wrestling because it sounds like you got some passion there. And then you come to Memphis, the wrestling capital of the world.
Well, we got all the shows that Memphis got. Like they would come to Nashville. I used to watch the wrestling matches. The other wrestling,
okay,
if you will.
Yeah.
That's
the Hollywood version.
Yes.
Okay, so what decision did you make as a young person that ended up having really a lifelong impact, even though you didn't know at the time it would?
I can say that as a young person, like I can think all the way back as when I was grade school. Being in Memphis, you are exposed to all the other kind of kids.
Right.
But there was a certain sense of pride that, coming from our house, right? Because we moved around a lot. So I knew kids on the east side, I knew kids in North Nashville, South Nashville, East Nashville.
Right.
And, but I knew that I couldn't go home in trouble.
Okay.
So you didn't see me or my twin. We were like I said, we were the ones focused on our older siblings. We watched them make all the mistakes.
Oh yeah, y'all learned.
And we learned.
Right.
But we knew we had to go to school, we had to get educated and keep things pretty positive.
Okay.
There were no excuses.
Right.
If something didn't happen, it's because you didn't do it.
Okay.
And those decisions were made early on because I was always a fighter.
Right.
And I just wasn't going for anything. So I remember being very young fighting, and that was normal in our neighborhood. You had to jock for territory, and part of it was because of the nickname I had. And anybody that know my nickname,
what's the nickname, man? Come on.
Bad Boy.
Bad Boy. Oh man. Okay, so hold on. We gonna unplug that. We gonna unpack that one for sure. So let me ask you, how different are you from the person you dreamed you would be as a kid?
I think I'm still pretty much that person.
Really?
Yeah.
So you never dreamed of NBA?
No.
Wrestling
I honestly had dreams of being a CPA.
Oh. Why? We gonna figure. Man, hold on. Let's see. CPA, bad boy nickname, fighting all the time. We got a lot to talk about in the second part. When did you know you was gonna be okay? When did you know that I can do this thing called life?
It was pretty early on.
Really?
I paid attention as a kid. I knew there were a couple things that differentiated me from a lot of others. Not much.
Okay.
Right? It was all about decisions.
All right.
And although I was there when a whole lot of bad stuff happened, God saw fit for me to be, move.
Yeah.
Not be seen or whatever, right?
Okay.
I had a covering that I didn't recognize until I was mid-teen.
Well, you talked about differentiation, so I got to ask you, when was the first time that you realized you were a black man? Hold on. Listen, we're going to come right back where Brother Dean going to tell us when he realized he was a brother. Stay right there. This is The Journey on the Kazuki Network.
This is a journey.
Let me take you on a journey.
Success in life is not a straight line. There are twists and turns in everyone's life, and the more you know about their story, the more you'll understand the process. Kazukian Media Group proudly presents The Journey, a show that features successful black men in Memphis telling their stories of their lives and the ups and downs they've encountered on their ultimate road to success. We believe the journey will encourage young men and help them see that life is a journey. Watch The Journey, hosted by me, Larry Robinson. Brought to you by the Kazukia Media Group in partnership with the Delta Boulé. Welcome back. We got Bad Boy with us today, AKA Andre Dean. And before we left, we asked him when he realized that he was a brother. But before we go there, I gotta know, what's your superpower, Bad Boy?
No superpowers. I was good with these hands, real good with these hands.
Well, when I mean superpower, what's that thing that God blessed you with that you can do that you would say better than anybody else? Just that natural gift.
I had to come to realize that it was leadership.
Really?
And I think it's pretty consistent if you ask my coaches, if you ask friends, if you ask frenemies, if you ask enemies. I've always been a leader.
Okay.
Not seeking that.
Right.
It was just thrust upon me a lot of times. And I accept the role, but I don't seek it.
Okay.
But yeah, I can say that God has truly blessed me to be tip of the spear on a lot of things,
Right.
and often misunderstood, but I've grown to be okay with that.
They also say, many people say that it's lonely being a leader.
Oh yeah, yeah.
For you, a person that has a lot of friends, a lot of relationships, why lonely for a leader?
Because a lot of times I saw a bumper sticker that was interesting. It says that the view is, just to sum it up, the view up front is different every day, but the view from behind is the same every day.
That's powerful.
And not that I have a fear of being behind, it's just that I've always been thrust up front.
Okay.
And with leading, you have to accept the fact that everybody's not going to see everything that you see.
Right.
Right. And God gifted leaders in different ways, but you have to be able to discern what those things are when you see them.
Right. Right. So what I want you to realize is that here's a brother who came from the projects, didn't have his father, who still has had to be the person out front, still had to lead. So when you think about that, when some of you guys connect, hopefully you'll connect with this story, you'll realize that your situation is what your situation is, but you still have to take it. You got to take that responsibility of being the tip of the spear, as Mr. Bad Boy put it. So who are you? If somebody walked up to you and said, man, who are you?
Just a regular guy. I mean, I say that people see a polished exterior, but I'm just one veneer from, being that rough dude that came right out of the hood, because there's a level. I mean, just being a brother, being a brother, you have to know when to turn it on and when you have to turn it off, right? You can't.
We have to be bilingual.
Right. You have to, because we understand a different language.
Right.
And brothers will try you based on how well you speak that other language.
Right.
And some won't try you based on how well you speak that other language. And so it's a matter of respect, a lot of nonverbals, and discernment.
Right.
And but no, I realized I was a brother early on. As a kid growing up,
was there a moment that something happened where you realized, wait a minute, man, I ain't being treated like this other cat?
Yes.
Okay.
It's very clear. It still burns me a little bit. I've been competitive my whole life, so and there was an inner competition more than anything. So I like making good grades. Didn't have straight A's, but I did pretty good in school.
Right.
I remember a test that was going to determine who was the top algebra student in the class.
Okay.
In the school.
Okay.
And I missed the score by 1 point, and it was the deduction because my 9 didn't look like a 9. It didn't look like a 9, but we knew it was a 9. Wow. It just didn't look like a 9. It was a 9.
So they deducted a point?
Yeah, I got poor penmanship. Like, I'm just gonna be straight up.
Right.
But numbers are numbers.
Right.
Right. They deducted a point, and so another young lady got this honor for our class, and rest is history.
How'd you
but
deal with that anger?
I didn't think about it until later. I was upset then because I'm like, it's 9, but it didn't. I didn't harbor that too long, but I thought back on it. Right. As you said, you asked that question, and I realized there was a difference in how we were treated. And then there are other occasions, but you mature through these things. I remember a story when I here in Memphis in college. A story I tell, and the folks at Oak Hall know this.
Okay.
I was the first black salesman hired at Oak Hall. Now, Oak Hall been open a long time. It's a funny story. I sat down in my interview and they said, young man, we've been in business since 1862. And in my head, I was like, man, we wasn't even free.
Right.
Right.
Wow.
But he said, we served several generations here, and some people might not want you to help them. And I said, that's fine. I've been dealing with that for a long time, right? It doesn't define me. I said, but I get paid when everybody else gets paid, right?
Right.
And all these things are gonna be true for me too, the commission, the whole night. I said, I'll be fine. It's like, you're gonna fit right in. And the rest is history. And they'll tell you, to this day, I was the first black salesman they hired at Oak Hall, who's still in business right now. So I thank the Levy's and Mr. Custom for that opportunity.
See, I always knew you was sharp, and I was like, where does brother get this style from? Man, I didn't know you was from one of the baddest clothing stores in the city.
They know how to do it over there.
Oh yeah, they certainly know how to do it.
Yes.
So tell me about your family. Like, so you had a twin sister. You have
I have
a twin sister. How were you all alike? I mean, then how are you all not alike?
We are a lot alike.
Did y'all dress the same and all that stuff?
Both of us dressed up pretty decent. Yeah.
Okay.
She's stylish. She's a lot more stylish than I am. I tell her she's got a lot more grit than me. It's just mine is immediately boom, boom, boom.
Right.
She's a long grinder.
Okay.
She's a go-getter herself. And but we're a lot alike in a lot of ways. Very inwardly thinkers, but love hard. Okay. So yeah, I can say we're a lot alike in that way.
Okay. Now you got an older brother?
Oh yeah, older brothers. My oldest brother is deceased. He passed away a couple of years ago.
Okay.
Another brother, Tyrone. He's.
What was that like to lose a sibling?
It's different. My mom passed first. Well, it was my grandmother some years ago, then my mom, and then probably about 2 years after my mom passed, like my brother passed, 3 years.
I'm sure that hits different.
It does, because now he's 11, he was 11 years older than me, so my memory of him is, you're not gonna be a punk.
Right.
Because they come in here and my other brother just beating on me because I was the youngest boy.
Oh, yeah,
they were gone most of the time, and I was there with my sisters.
Okay.
So I learned a lot from my sisters, but I was toughened up every time they came to the house.
Wow.
And I don't regret any of that, but people talk about being abused or whatever. It's like, y'all don't know anything. If you got older brothers, it's like, you can pretty much deal with anything in life.
Now you talked about school, early school. What was one of those seminal moments that defined you as a young man, where you said, okay, I'm gonna take this a step higher?
Yeah, it was, school is interesting. I think about it. I stayed the course. Like, I paid attention in class. I don't know if that was something special or whatever. I knew that I had a speech impediment early on when I was a kid. I didn't realize it until I look back and say they had me in a speech class. It was just me and a speech therapist.
Right.
It wasn't a class. I used to, in the first grade, I would go to this one lady and everybody else would go to class, and it was just, we would sit there and talk, say words, right? And I say I have a lazy tongue, and I still have it every now and then now.
Okay.
But no, it didn't affect, how I think or anything. I've always been, pretty quick and sometimes quick-witted, but for the most part, just staying and paying attention. And a lot of times, just showing up, you're gonna learn a lot.
Right.
And if it's a story to tell, show up.
Right.
If you don't do anything else, show up.
Okay.
Because you will get information if you're there to receive information. And if other people don't, there's one leg up.
Right.
And then some things happen just by attrition. So if you're showing up and no one else is there, here you go. Here's your opportunity. Right.
Absolutely.
So I say that I've shown up. I didn't miss a lot of days of school. I like being at school. And being an athlete helped with that. Right. So you just got to show up.
You made a transition to Memphis. So tell me about that high school moment where you said, I'm going to Memphis. I'm going to Memphis State.
Memphis State.
I'm going to Memphis State University.
It's funny. My oldest sister married a guy from here.
Okay.
And during the summer, he would come visit his parents, and I would just tag along.
Okay.
It's my oldest sister. Like I said, she was like a mom. I used to babysit her kids, and I was really like the ride-along babysitter almost. Really, like I was gonna be watching the kids.
Right.
But we come here. He had a son that was actually a year older than me, and he had a nephew that was 2 years older than me.
Okay.
Both of them big-time basketball players here.
Okay.
And so I know I was probably a freshman, sophomore, the first time I came to Memphis.
Okay.
And we shot ball at Lincoln, we shot ball at Melrose, we shot ball at every gym around here, and that's why I kind of feel like I'm a South Memphis dude,
right?
For the most part, because I shot ball in a lot of these gyms, and it came, it was just natural for me, and it just fit well with me to be here. And then, not to say that my social life here grew immediately, because I knew a few people coming back and forth. And so by the time it was time for me to choose a college, I was looking at Memphis State, and at the time, I thought Memphis State was this HBCU, right?
I can believe that.
I'm watching them on TV.
Right.
I saw Andre Turner. I saw, Keith Lee and that whole crew.
Right.
And one of them was good friends. One of my nephews was teammate with William Bedford.
Okay.
And so Melrose won the state in '83. Right. I knew all of those guys. And so knew them right before I graduated. So they were years ahead of me. And so when I came here, it was like I had immediate, friends and, acquaintances. And so I came here actually on an academic scholarship. And the rest is history. I've been here ever since.
Okay, so you told me between the break, when you go back to Nashville and we go to a football game or something, somebody gonna holler, "Bad boy."
Yep, they will. That's why I know they know me from one of the one of the neighborhoods.
So, how does that make you feel today?
It makes me feel good. I mean, I like having a sense of belonging.
Okay.
I know my roots. I'm not ashamed of them. Okay. Anybody that knows me knows that I'm real every time they see me.
Right.
I wear a suit. I've been wearing suits. I was wearing suits as an undergraduate. If you knew me in the fraternity, if you knew me in college, you knew I dressed up.
You was a man of
right?
Kappa Alpha Psi, so you have
right.
We wear the suits now.
Right, but there's a grit about me that most guys that have been around me know and understand that, and there's a level of respect that I guess I've been able to develop over the years, and it's not out of fear or anything. It's just out of mutual respect for other individuals and the plight of other people. So.
Right. What is Memphis giving you?
Memphis has given me a lot. I have a great church. I have a great family. My wife is from here.
Okay.
All my kids born here. And so, I mean, Memphis has been good to me. I think about Abraham. You know, he left where he was from, and God blessed him over there. Right. And then he blessed him again.
Right.
And so I've been blessed here in Memphis. I could say I've chosen it 3 times.
Right.
Because we moved away and moved back.
Okay.
But Memphis has given me a lot. I became a man here.
Yeah.
And I can't take anything away from that.
Wow. So your career, how many jobs would you say you've had over the years? Now you got your own firm and you're doing your thing.
Yeah.
But you know, sometimes life takes you on a very circuitous route. And I just would, I wanted kids to know, or people to know, that sometimes it ain't revealed to you immediately. So
so I started my business, I turned 50. And prior to that, I only had about 5 jobs in my life.
Okay.
Long-term jobs, and I can say that every job brought me to another plateau in my life that I can say, okay, bag all this up, take it with me.
Okay.
And so all of the skills that I acquired were transferable, unbeknownst to me at the time.
Right.
I've been around and involved with politics since I was 11, 12 years old.
Oh, wow.
My brother, the one I was telling you about, was toughening me up.
Right.
He married my sister-in-law. Her dad was the longest serving city councilman in Nashville.
Wow.
And to this day, he, Mr. Douglas I credit him for really, just my level of involvement in just paying attention to him and how he did things. And my mom was very active.
Right.
But here, just being around politics, I never worked in government or anything, but I was always around elected officials or people that wanted to be in elected office. So the different jobs gave me a skill set that I was able to take and use in my next job.
Any regrets? Anything? Any mulligans that you say, let me do? If I could, I'd do this over.
Well, I tell anybody that's been a friend of mine that I thought about going into the Marines right out of high school in the officer training program.
Right.
And I don't regret it. I just wonder what if, right? If I had gone in the Marine Corps.
Okay. Well, you're back in Nashville. I'm gonna take you back. You visited Nashville. You go into the house. It's a brother sitting there, a little kid sitting there eating a bowl of cereal. You look at him, and it's little Andre. It's a little bad boy. What would you say to him today?
Do whatever you need to do. Scratch, claw, fight, whatever you need to do to be in school every day. Just go to school and do your work. You don't even have to like the teacher. You don't have to like what's going on. Just go to school, do your work.
Okay.
All right. I didn't always have the best conduct grade.
Right.
But on the front of the report card was going to be good grades. Right. On the back, might be a few things wrong.
Right.
But go to school and do the work.
All right.
It'll pay you dividends.
Right.
It won't be immediate, but no one can take that education experience from you.
Right. Well, listen, there's a lot of brothers and sisters sitting here watching this show right now. If you had an opportunity to say something directly to them, to leave them with a deanism, what would you say to him? And say it to him right there.
I will say this, and you may have heard it before. I've had coaches say it, and we see a lot of talented people all the time. Mm-hmm. But hard work will outpace talent any day. If you work hard, you continue to do that consistently. You start with somebody that's talented and you working hard, they might be talented, more talented than you today.
Right.
But if you keep working hard, you're gonna catch up and surpass them. And I know people right now, highly talented individuals, mm-hmm. but they stop and they didn't have the work ethic.
Right.
You have the work ethic. Those things will continue to be exponentially added to whatever it is you want to do.
Right.
And so just having a strong work ethic at what you really want to do will get you where you're trying to go. And it should be a self-attainable, like what do you see yourself doing?
Right.
You know, most great people have pushed themselves. It hasn't been some exterior push.
Right.
It's their own inner.
Intrinsically.
Yes.
Intrinsically motivated. Well, listen, this has been Brother Dean. Brother Andre Dean. Put some respect on his name. See, because you never know how or when you'll have an impact or how important your example can be to someone else. And I'm telling you, this brother right here, always on point. So you be on point. In fact, be on point and come back next time because we're going to keep bringing them. We're going to keep bringing these Memphis icons to you because these are some bad boys. Listen, thank you. Brother
Thanks,
Dean,
Larry.
thank you, man.
Appreciate you.
Appreciate you
All right.
for checking us out. Listen,
Yes,
man,
sir.
keep coming back. We'll talk to you soon. Larry Robinson, for our guest, Andre Dean, and this has been The Journey on the Kadzukian Network. Till the next time. Thank you to our partners, the Delta Boulé. To hear more incredible stories like this, be sure to download the Kadzukian app from the App Store or Google Play. Or check out the Journey Memphis podcast on all your major podcast providers. Also, check us out on the Kadzukian Network.